welcome. It is Thursday, October 5th, and as we sit here on the eve of our 1-year mark since we've started the show.
It's amazing, isn't it? 1 year.
I can't believe it, truthfully.
Oh, and I forgot, I just got great news. We've been renewed. They picked us up. How do you like that? We got another year of shows ahead of us.
Who called you? Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, he said Facebook needs us. We're driving all kinds of traffic to that website.
Well, I will say we are approaching a big milestone for our videos. We've almost hit 500,000 views.
That's a lot of views. Yeah, that's a lot of views. A lot of people like antique toys, I guess.
They do, and we love showing them to everyone, and we would just like to thank each and every person who has not only watched the show this past year, but that's helped us with the show, that's participated, that's helped carry our equipment across the country to all these different shows and hotels and auction houses. And
help us look like this.
the Glam Squad, of course. But we just really appreciate everyone, and thank you for watching, and we hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
We do appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
So with that being said, we have some more exciting shows, as Ray said, coming up this year. So stay tuned. We're going to be, I don't know if you saw some of our videos last week while we were at the Chicago Toy Soldier show, but we had some mobile videos going on. They're a little more dynamic, and we might have some special guests. So stay tuned for those.
It was a great show, wasn't it? I love that Chicago show. It's still the best show for soldiers.
It is.
It's just amazing. The new crew, Roger and his whole staff, they really did a great job and really put on a world-class event. They come from all over.
They did. So thank you.
We were in the thick of it.
We stepped on up to the selfie station and tried some uniforms and hats on.
I forgot about that.
So it was fun. So we'll be seeing everybody next year at the Chicago Toy Soldier show. But right now, like we said, we are in White House Station, New Jersey at the RSL Auction Gallery, and we are super pumped because we're auctioning over 660 lots this Saturday at 10 a.m. You can not only come watch the auction live here, but you can also place bids on liveauctioneers.com. You can search for RSL auctions. So we're still accepting those bids, absentee bids, phone bids. So if you need directions or more information, you can go on to rslauctionco.com as well.
My favorite week, auction week. I love auction weeks.
And this is our fall toy, and bank auction. We have not only still and mechanical banks, but we also have some folk art, some penny toys, some wind-up toys, some tin banks, some safe banks. What else do we have, Ray? Some.
Did you say folk art?
Yes, folk art, some layman's, some spelter banks.
We have Guntherman toys, some Japanese wind-up, early clockwork toys. It's really a big array of different type of early toys that we're offering this sale.
It is. So with all that being said, also we're going to get to featuring some lots that are going to be up for auction on Saturday, but we also, everything that you see behind us is available for retail purchase.
Yeah, so at the gallery here, we do have a lot of items that are always for sale. Mr. Egg Gardner behind us. Might not make a lot of sense. This is actually part of a larger trade sign. He was a grocer in the New York area. Name's Egg Gardner. So just in case anyone was wondering there.
Yes. So
that's it, and I guess we're going to look at some terrific toys.
We are.
All right, where are we starting?
Let's get going. We're starting.
A little wager.
Yes, we're starting with a bet. This is lot 519. It is called the Hippodrome Parisienne, and what it is it's a gambling toy.
It's a gambling device. There are a lot of different gambling devices. They would often sit on bars. People would bet for drinks. So what are we going to bet for here?
How about for dinner later?
Okay, I'm in. I'm game.
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, now other things on this. Now this is a French toy, but they were made all over the world. Germans made them, English made them, Americans made them. The French really love Charlie Chaplin. He's like a national icon there. So for some reason they put Charlie Chaplin on there as the race coordinator. You can see he's wearing the checkered pants, and where his flag is going to be the
winner.
It's going to be the winner. So, without further ado, there's 10 horses on here. Bree, what's your number?
All right, let's see here. I'm going with number 5.
I'm going with number 4. 4 is my favorite number. What's your favorite number?
5's mine. Always has been.
That's
All
good,
right.
It's been.
Let's
So
go,
it's spinning.
5.
I want 4. I'm feeling a little hungry. Dun, dun, dun. And the winner is 2.
2. Well, who's buying dinner now?
Guess we're going Dutch.
Great.
Just save me $50.
But I just think this, it's really charming, and I think it's an interesting little French toy, and it comes with this original box as well, and there is a little mosaic pattern on the top, or on the bottom, excuse me. So I think that it's just really neat, and it all comes apart, and it fits in here, which is hard to believe, holding it up and looking at it, but it does fit in here. So if you're interested in this one, it is lot 519 on Saturday. And next, we are moving on to maybe a little bit more, well, I guess Charlie Chapman's recognizable, but we have, if you're a cat lover, Felix.
Felix on a crescent moon.
This is just beautiful.
Oh, look at this action. It is a great, great toy.
He rocks back and forth. It's made of wood. It's also a French toy. It's lot 521. And there has been a lot of interest in this so far.
People really like it. I've never really seen this toy before. Now, there's a lot of Felix toys out there. So Felix he's not as big as Mickey and Minnie, but he's pretty close. So there's a lot of collectors that will just collect Felix. Felix was a comic character. Started right around 1920 or 1919. Became very popular in the 50s, and they did some comic or cartoons with Felix in sort of in the 50s. But very unusual form, nice scale, beautiful condition, great color.
Really
so I just wanted to show everyone again. Look at him go.
He rocks back and forth.
Yeah, his head's on a little spring, so it gives him a little extra animation there.
It's just a beautiful toy. I think that the colors are just
Look, even has the
really neat.
Original pull string on there.
Original pull string.
Doesn't get any finer.
He is. So if you're a Felix collector, if you love cats, if you love little Felix, he's lot 521.
That's Felix. He's going to ride on out.
Riding into the sky.
Isn't it great we get to play with toys all the time?
It is. We're super lucky. Okay, so now we're moving on to another one of my little favorite guys. This is a walking rooster.
The Rooster Man.
And
made by Guntherman, and he's just a walker.
He walks, he kind of waddles, I guess, back and forth, but he's made of paper mache, which is what the whole top part of him is, and then all his little clothes, he has a little bow tie there, they're all made of felt, and then he also has lead, his body underneath is lead, so that's what's really holding him together, but he's a neat little walking
Isn't he great?
toy.
So I just liked him. I thought he was very unusual, and I just wanted to say, there's a lot of material behind this 8-inch rooster, but our mothers are our biggest fans, so we're just going to say, enjoy this rooster.
Hi, Mom. So our walking rooster, if you love him, he's lot 493.
Now, and another, this is another Guntherman toy.
We couldn't forget our soldiers, so we know this isn't a typical soldier set that we would usually sell, but this is a Prussian soldier firing.
Lying prone, firing, box pack for all our soldier people. Pickle knob helmet on there.
You can wind
him up. He actually has offset wheels, so he sort of goes along the ground like that. Again, great condition.
He is, and he's a little over 10 inches long, and the color on his little uniform is really nice too.
A nice face on it.
If you're a soldier fan, and
well, it's one of those that sort of crosses over.
It is. It's a cross market.
A lot of we have soldier collectors and toy collectors, but this is one that I know soldier people are going to be very interested in this toy.
Yes. So our little Prussian, he is lot 488, and he is also hand painted. I don't know if we mentioned that, but I think that makes him very charming as well.
It does.
So next,
Japanese.
We are also going to stay in our little soldier-esque type category.
Kinda.
I guess crossover a little bit. We sell a lot of fox hunt sets and for Old Toy Soldier, but this is a over-the-field fox hunt. It is a Japanese toy. It comes with its original box, and this actually, you wind it up, and it goes around in a little circle, and the dogs chase the woman on her little pedestal. So
it's a neat
on a
toy.
little grassy knoll, I guess I should say.
This is post-war Japanese, made by Alps, which is one of the biggest manufacturers. it's nice. It's sort of early post-war, meaning it was probably made late 40s, early 50s. It's still incorporating tin with then celluloid. Tin was being a more expensive item, so most of the Japanese manufacturers, they sort of faded out the tin and went more to celluloid toys or completely celluloid toys toward the mid-50s. Celluloid, basically an early plastic. They started making jewelry with it about 1910. It's a little different, that celluloid, but it's the same thing essentially. These are very thin, very light, the dogs and the horse. But a lot of nice detailing in them, and I've loved celluloid toys and collected them for a long time.
Yes, so that's our little fox
Nice
hunt.
box, too.
I think it's a beautiful piece as well. So that's lot 490.
490.
And here, let me hold the box up a little closer so you can see. But this label's really nice as well. Fox hunt over the field.
All right.
Great condition. Okay, next, if you are a rowing fan,
A lot of rowers. This is one of our best-selling toys.
This is an 8-man rowing scull. And this also has great action as well. When you roll it across the table, we'll see if Ray can demonstrate it for us, but they actually do row back and forth.
Just turn these wheels here.
See how they
There.
row back and forth?
So this is an 8-man with the coxswain in the rear there. They also made a 4-man, and then they also made a large one that's another 8-man scull, but it's much larger, and that's the rarest. Made by U.S. Hardware about 1890. And then there is another version that's made by Wilkins. But again, one of our best sellers. A lot of people that rode in college, they want this toy. They might not even be big toy collectors, but anyone that sort of ever spent any time on the water, if they rode for a team, this is a high priority for them to get.
Have you ever seen these, made after actual teams, or are they more just...
I've never seen them actually painted, but there are a couple variations of this toy. Besides the manufacturers, and this is the 8-piece one, which you usually see. They're generally painted in white. The rowing skull is always this same color, so this tan with the green. But they'll also come in blue, and then the rarest one is they'll come in blue, they'll have a little peak cap on.
Oh, wow,
and that's the rarest of them all. They can vary in price. A couple of them have sold for $20,000, but generally, like this toy here is probably going to be in the $3,000 range. The small ones are $1,500, $1,200, and then the real large ones, again, those can get up close to $20,000 if they're very nice. But the large one's rare. This is rare, but I probably get 3 or 4 a year.
Okay.
So it's not extremely rare, but the big one's very rare.
Are the wheels usually red?
Yes. They're
Okay.
red, and it's almost always like this. Now, the Wilkins one can be a little different, and they can have yellow wheels with the different shapes, sort of like a star shape. But the U.S. Hardware one's always like this.
This one? Okay. So that's our U.S. Hardware rowing skull.
But just, since we're talking a lot about it, this toy, what I always look at under here, very often these supports will break. So you do want to look there. There will be a repair. Usually you can see it underneath, just the way that arm that holds the wheel comes out. If kid puts the toy down hard, it can break right there. The other thing, very often, like the oars, they can be replaced. They aren't difficult to lose, but they're not held in extremely tight.
Yes,
so
they're kind of just hooked on.
Yeah, they sort of just hook on. So you do want to look at them. These oars are all original.
Wow.
Nice toy.
It's
I like
beautiful.
it.
Very beautiful. Rowing skull. Once again, lot 382. Next, we are going to transition
Ooh, a beautiful bank
to
here.
banks. This is a leapfrog mechanical bank, and that it has action, which Ray will demonstrate for you. But as you can see, it's very colorful, and I'm sure a lot of you played leapfrog growing up, but the one friend jumps over the other friend's back.
Those are my partners, Leon and Steven. Leapfrogging away.
Little baby Leon and Steven.
Aren't they cute? Beautiful, beautiful bank. This came from a very discriminating collector that loves condition and, is building a world-class collection. Some of the highlights of this. Well, let me show the action first. So the coin just rests up top here, and then on the back, you can see there's a little lever there. So when you press the lever, it leaps over.
So
Neat. And then in the back again, there's another lever, and this is how you reset it. So you bring that back, and let me show you here. By doing that, when you push this lever to activate, he leaps forward. So everyone get how that worked? Pretty bank. The things that you're usually looking for, any bank that has a face, you want the faces to be nice. These faces are beautiful. The other thing on this one is the wall. Very nice wall. But probably what sets this one apart from the majority of the ones you'll see out there are the rings on the tree. And show them up top here and on the side there.
Yeah, so very detailed rings. You can clearly see them on the top of the tree stump there.
And then on the side there, Bree, show it on the side right there.
And on the side right there.
So those are the little details that we look for when you're trying to determine how good the bank actually is. So this puts it in a very, very rare category. And really the only sort of thing that you'd like a little better down here, the gold, and this has great gold. I mean, this bank's very superior to most ones you see, but that's probably the weakest part. You need a little better gold here to sort of put that into like the $15,000 category. But just with these highlights here in the faces, you know, this bank can go in anyone's collection and they'd be very proud of it.
Yes, beautiful example of this.
Made by Shepherd Hardware. Basically, see that key trap under there? Easy way to determine who made a number of banks. This is a distinctive type of locking trap. So there's a key that you use to get the money out. Any bank that has that, you know, is made by Shepherd. There's other banks that have key traps, but this one's sort of a distinctive. They use it on a lot of different banks, so that's sort of a dead tip-off. Keys, like a lot of people want keys for it. When I was a kid, I used to use a paper clip to open these up. You can find keys. Again, in general, I would say with traps, if the trap isn't painted, for example, like on a Uncle Sam or a stump speaker, the trap's painted, those traps, if they're missing, do affect the value. These kind of traps are relatively easy to find. You can usually always find them on eBay for $50 to $75. So it does sort of affect the value, but it's not critical. It's much more important to have beautiful faces like this or a nice tree stump with nice highlighting.
Paint, bright colors. This is a really, really nice bank. So if
Yeah.
you're looking for a leapfrog bank and you need to add one to your collection, we highly recommend this one.
I do.
So this is lot 655.
Okay, so what's next?
Next. Oh, this
Ooh.
one's exciting.
The
Okay,
Fowler Bank.
Fowler Bank. This is the red base version. And tell us about the variations of this one, Ray. I know that there's different.
There's two distinct variations. It comes yellow base or red base.
Okay, so yellow too.
And then really the only difference, these little highlighting here on the front, some have it, some don't. Generally, if it's nice like this one, you prefer if it has it. But again, it's not, you know, you'd rather just a nice example of the bank. This is probably the rarest of all the shooting banks. It's also made by J&E Stevens, and it's sort of unusual, and it doesn't really look like most Stevens banks. And it has a very folk art look to it. So one of the reasons I like this bank so much is it does look different than the other banks. Just sort of the nature of the casting and the way the figure's sculpted, it has a unique look. And it's great action. So it's like a hunter going through a field. You can put a cap in it, so it's a cap shooter.
Oh, wow.
It comes with a little bird.
There's a little bird.
So it comes with a bird there.
He's a
That's an
little bird.
original bird. Now, birds are rare. This bird is missing the top of his tail feathers. So the birds very often will be lost, very often will be broken. There is a little hole in the bottom here that you would actually tie a string to, and then there's another loop down here that the string would be, so you wouldn't lose it. But I mean, it's a great bank because you put the bird on there, so he's sitting like in the bush, and you have the hunter walking through the field, and he's going along, going for his hunt, and all of a sudden he stops and he sees the bird.
Pull.
Oh, the bird got away.
Away from me. I was this close.
It was close. She's been practicing that, but it was close.
Man. All right, I was close.
Great action, isn't it? And we've set up a foam pit over there.
It
Bird's
is.
fine.
He's
Bird's
fine. He's
fine.
safe. We had backup just in case that my, baseball skills non-existent. didn't
Well, you
come
are.
through.
I will say you are righty, and you're trying to catch it with your left.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we'll
So
let it
I'll get a little pass for that one, but yeah, it's a beautiful bank. It's circa 1892. Like Ray said, it was made by J&E Stevens out of Cromwell, Connecticut. So yeah, but
Good one.
very nice, great example again. Lot 651. So that's our Fowler bank. Oh, next I like this little guy.
Because someone likes likes animals.
Okay, this is Fido, and he is so minty. It is actually it's a common still bank, but you usually don't see him, in this nice of condition. And you can see, what you'll find a lot of times is with these screws on the back, you can tell when they've been opened before, because there's marks where paint might be missing. But for this one, we've stated in the catalog that we believe that he was never opened. So
it's about as clean a bank as you're going to get. I mean, really beautiful. These banks were made by Hubley, which is in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They were a big manufacturer. They produced for a long period of time. This bank here was probably made in the 30s or early 40s. They did do some production in the 50s, but this is pre-war. Again, Fido, there's a series. There's a cat. There's Puppo on pillow. There's a puppy with bee. There's like one with a little bee on him. So there's like a nice series, the circus elephant. And we do have collectors that just sort of collect Hubley, because they also made a lot of paperweights and things like that.
It's just adorable. I think that it would be such a nice piece on a shelf in a child's room, or a baby, a nursery.
Tell you the truth, Bree, I use this bank a lot for gifts. So that, or they make a little kitty that will have a blue bow or a pink bow, and I find, I'm a bank dealer, so I do find that I like giving these as gifts, and they're very affordable. They'll start at like $30 or $40. This one's probably going to be closer to $300 just because of the condition.
He's so nice.
But again, it's a very affordable bank that, anyone can buy, and it's great to get your, if someone had a baby or, for whatever reason, it's a good starter bank. Kids can play with it, save their money in it.
It is. You can teach them how to save, which is very important.
That's why all these banks are here.
That's little Fido.
How to save.
He is lot 257 if you are searching for him. And next, we are moving on to a spelter German bank. This is lot 206. This is the Highland Bull.
This is an unusual bank. I haven't really handled this bank before. Great condition. Just think he has a lot of personality and character.
He does.
Spelter, meaning it's basically made out of lead. But again, great condition. They have those trick locks on the front that we've shown how those work before. But
this lock right here. But yep. So he's just really nice, and he stood out in our spelter section. So when we were choosing lots for the sale, and just think he's interesting because of the detail on him. So, but spelter banks are really nice. I like the scale of them, and I just think that they're adorable. So
yeah, I agree.
That's a little Highland Bull. Lot 206.
All right.
Next,
have you been to church lately?
I have, actually.
Me too. The reason I say that is we have two of the rarest and most desirable of the architectural banks. This is the South Church. That's the South Church. Large South Church, small South Church.
Usually we don't have both of these at the same time.
That's why I wanted to show them. This is rare. The big one's extremely rare. I think maybe 4 or 5 known examples of it. So the big one's very rare. This is based on the actual Old South Church in Boston, which I think
it's called the United Church of Christ. It was organized in 1669, and the actual address for this church is 645 Boylston Street in Copley Square in Boston.
So you actually can go by and see the building. The original church was 1669, I think you said. Mm-hmm. I think that burned down. I mean, there's been a couple incarnations, but the church that looks like this is still standing. I know that people still get married in it because of an acquaintance of mine was married at Old South Church a couple years ago. Okay, a couple things I just want to point out on here. Well, one interesting thing. Okay, let's do the big one first.
Okay.
There are measurements in the book. You can see this one's obviously larger. But sometimes when you're looking at a photo, it's hard to tell if it's a large or a small if there's no scale. Mm-hmm. Okay? One of the things I discovered a long time ago is the large one, the windows are all cast closed. The small one,
they're all open.
The windows are all open. So if you're looking at a photo, that's really the easiest and best way to tell which size it is if you don't have any size reference with it. Now this bank, keep that image right there. You can see that, show them that label there. Okay, this bank actually came from Walter P. Chrysler. Who was Walter P. Chrysler?
Yes.
He was the guy that started Chrysler Motors.
He was a big
bank collector, one of the first pioneers. His collection was sold in New York City by David Hollander, I think in 1957, I believe. And there's a pamphlet that's not readily available, but you can find the pamphlet that sort of lists all the banks that they sold.
And it does say sold by David Hollander on the side too.
So
that's cool.
Hollander conducted the sale. It was really the first. That was really the first time that banks were sort of promoted and sold as a collectible, as a collection. And Chrysler banks, again back then they didn't really know what the market was. Walter P. Chrysler just collected them because he liked them, and he built a fantastic collection. And that was really the start of the whole industry that we're in. That was really the beginning of people building collections. And when they passed away, as Chrysler did, you had to sell the collection.
So did everything from his collection have these little tags on it?
I don't know that. I've owned a number of his banks through the years. I would assume, I've never actually seen this sticker like that. But I would assume that they probably did. Or, the vast majority of them did. So I thought that was an interesting aspect of it.
Very interesting, for sure.
So just wanted everyone to see these two.
But they're really nice. And the detail in those windows, too, you can see the gold and the red. And, I think that the cream and the green color on that one is just beautiful, really.
It is beautiful. This one is actually a very, very old repaint.
Is it? Okay.
So these are the colors that it should be in. It's sort of like a grayish off-white. This was, again, probably painted right at the turn of the century. And it's so rare that, the rarity of the bank's going to carry it. But in this one, there are a couple variations here. This one's patent applied for. Not all of them will say that on the rear.
So does that greatly affect the value of this particular one, or because it's such an old repaint?
Well, it will affect the value of it. I've paid a lot of money for the best one of these known. So it is rare. This one will probably be selling around $15,000 to $20,000. Again, there's only 4 of them, so you don't have a lot of choices. And I think there's only 2 that are really what we would call good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So those are our South
Church.
Churches. So the small one is lot 127, and the large one is lot 129. So if you're looking for them, or if you have questions, feel free to ask us before Saturday. Whoa, next, I love this guy. This is our seated banjo player.
There's our little banjo player. These are great toys. A clockwork toy. We've shown a lot of clockwork toys, but this is a Secor's clockwork toy. Secor was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Jerome Secor, before the Civil War, had a thriving sewing machine business. But during the war, the North basically commandeered his factories and switched them over to all types of wartime production. I think he was producing cannonballs and cannons and things like that at that time. He was wealthy before the war. The government took over his factories. Basically, after the war, he was bankrupt. He moved to Connecticut. Connecticut was a hotbed for all types of clockwork toys because they had a big clock-making community up there. That's where the majority of early clocks were made in that Connecticut area. They also had a lot of different machinists, and that was the heart of industrialization. So one of his friends, Ives, who was another sort of major manufacturer, he suggested that maybe he should try producing toys. And Secor's did, and he did fairly well at it. His toys were very expensive. So this toy here probably cost about $2 at the time. So that's $18.70.
$2.
That's probably about a month's wages for the average worker. So, you're looking at, something that would be equivalent to buying a $4,000 or $5,000 toy today.
Wow, that's so hard to believe. My Starbucks is more than that.
They made a whole series of these. This is the banjo player. They made what's called the bones player, it was like playing spoons. Mm-hmm. So he played spoons. They made Sister Lucinda, who had a fan, and the tambourine. I knew I was forgetting one. Tambourine. And then he also made what's considered one of the best mechanical banks, which is the Freedman's Bank. But great action.
We've showed that one before. I think that was in our Rochla collection episode, maybe? Or we had one similar to it.
I don't know if we've shown a Freedman's.
Maybe we did, but
again, you clockwork them. These are parlor toys. But what's really neat with him is...
He plays.
You got him?
Yep.
See, his head moves. He actually strums the banjo, and then his foot taps to sort of keep tempo. It's on a cast iron base. The body's sort of tin and wood. The clockwork's sort of in the middle of it. Very desirable type toy. So people really like that.
He is. So if you're looking for a little banjo player, he is lot.
Musicians like this toy a lot.
$432.
That's one of the highlights of the sale.
He is.
So we did pretty good there, Bree.
I think we did.
We got anything left? We do have something left.
We have one more. Maybe save the best for last. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. So this is lot 516, and it is a trade sign. I'm trying to see. So it actually sits on a base, but I'm going to lift this up so that you can see it.
Now that's a pipe.
Look at that.
Look at that. I'm not a smoker, but let me tell you what, that's the way I would smoke.
Oh man!
So this is a tobacconist trade sign. This was probably a counter model that would set on the counter at a tobacco store, basically demonstrating that they sold tobacco. It's made out of zinc, so there is a possibility that it was hung outside. Most of the ones that I've seen that were sort of hung outside were larger. Now I'm not saying that this one couldn't be, but I like this one just because you can put it on a counter or a desk and it fits. Well, the large ones are sort of 4 or 5 feet long.
Yeah, and if you hold this for a second, Ray, I'll show them. So it actually sits, and I can't hold it for you and display it at the same time, but it sits on this little stand. So
that stand was made for this, so it's not original to the toy.
But it's great for display.
Yeah, so I mean that's right there, just like that.
Sits right on there. So
my grandfather was a pipe smoker, though. Look at that sucker.
All right, we're gonna work on. I don't know. I think I'll pass on this one, but this is all you, right?
Where am I gonna put my pipe? I got no room for my
I'll
pipe.
I'll put it back on its little stand over here. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, that was lot 516 once again, and
don't tell me we're all done.
I know those are all the lots we have to
went
show.
Quick.
I
think we have about another 600.
We do. So if you're looking for more, there's definitely 600. And if you can make it to the gallery, we would love to see you here in New Jersey. But if you cannot, you can still bid online on liveauctioneers.com. You can search for RSL Auctions, and you can watch the sale live, you can bid live, you can place bids prior to the sale.
Can you show them the catalog?
Yes, we also have a catalog, which many of you have probably received. So it's really nice, and it has all the information in there that you need to know about this sale, including all the lots that we showed today. But the sale begins, like we said, Saturday at 10 a.m. And for more information, if you need directions to the gallery, if you have any questions at all, you go to rslauctionco.com, or you can give us a call at 908-823-4049, and we'd be happy to answer any questions or take phone bids, absentee bids, anything that you might have before the sale.
Because you can see we both like talking about toys.
Just a little bit. So another announcement that we have is our next cyber toy auction, which is our online auction company, is going to be November 10th. So there will be lots of banks there. That's going to be a Friday sale at 10 a.m. So watch for Cyber Toy Auctions on November 10th. We will be pulling together that catalog shortly. It'll be available online soon. So
probably 2 weeks, week and a half will be online.
Probably about 2 weeks. So
still banks, mechanical banks, celluloid toys, wind-up Japanese toys. What else do you see back there? Anything else? Some horse-drawn, I guess. Some novelty toys, things like that.
Yep, there's a nice variety for cyber, so definitely look out for that November 10th and for that catalog. And as far as our next Facebook Live broadcast, we will be back here with you next Thursday, October 12th at 7 p.m. And next weekend, we have Old Toy Soldier auction. We have a 2-part sale on Saturday. This broadcast is going to be very fun, so definitely tune in. That's Ivy Melchior, and he had a collection of 17th century flats. So this catalog is really, really cool. It was made like a scrapbook. Even the original ledger is in here from his collection. So it's very, very neat. I don't know if I can find it right now. Of course I can't. There it is. So this was the original, like we said, ledger. So
it was the original ledger. He bought his great-grandfather. So this collection was in his family's possession for 150 years. And his grandfather bought the bulk of the collection from a Dutch general, a General Schneider. And we have the original document from that purchase.
We do. We have this filing cabinet that he kept everything in, and we usually don't have pictures, so we are pretty sure that this is the first soldier catalog that we've ever had a human being on the cover. So very cool for him to grace the cover of the catalog.
And I.B. Melicourt, he was a Hollywood name. He produced a number of B movies, sort of in the 50s and 60s. The most famous, Robinson Crusoe, Lost in Space. So he's a Hollywood fixture. I wouldn't call him an A-lister, but you might have seen him on Dancing with the Stars.
I knew you were going to. I think he's going to say he's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. So, but that's the first part of the auction. Even if you don't collect flats, highly recommend you can jump on oldtoysoldierauctions.com and look at this catalog. It's worth the read. And then next we have Investment Rarities sale. This is part 2 of the Bill Jackie collection. World class Britons, if you're a Britons collector. We also have some Courtney in here.
And some Vertuni, some Greenwood and Ball.
Vertuni, Greenwood and Ball, and it's going to be a beautiful day of sale as well.
Not very long, I think 166 lots, very high-end type. Beautiful Britons, some of the best Britons we've had in a long time.
Yeah, so for Old Toy Soldier, if you don't know, we don't have a physical auction gallery, but we sell our soldiers on liveauctioneers.com. So we have a live online auction, but we still take phone bidders and absentee bids and all of that good stuff. But this sale we're running as a 2-part sale, so next Saturday we will have this session. We're calling it the morning session. It begins at 10 a.m. This is going to start around noon on Saturday, and then due to popular demand, as if we weren't selling enough lots soon, the next following day, so the Sunday, we actually added an additional 500 lots as well. So there are various manufacturers. They're not just Britons, not just flats. And I know that Britons are in the Sunday sale for sure as well, but we've got a little bit of everything. Marlboro, Mignot, King and Country, Tradition, Authenticast. I think there's some Haida in there.
A little bit, I think.
But yeah, so there's a bunch. So that's on all, both of these catalogs. They're 2 separate catalogs. Are on Live Auctioneers right now. So if you go to liveauctioneers.com and search for Old Toy Soldier, they will both come up. You can register for those. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us before next weekend. So with all of that being said,
that was a lot.
Best of luck to everyone this Saturday. We hope to see you here in New Jersey at the RSL Auction Gallery. And happy bidding.
Good luck,
Thanks
everyone.
For watching.
Bid often. Thanks. See you next week. Now.